Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are a recurring viewer, thank you so much for your continued support and viewership of my videos. I really appreciate you all being here. Today, I want to talk briefly about part 2 of Essex Dogs by Dan Jones. I'm reading this as a part of a read-along / buddy read with Steve Donahue. We're taking one part of the novel per weekend of February, and then on the fourth week of February, fourth weekend, we'll do some sort of a wrap-up discussion, either a live stream or a recorded Zoom discussion. We're not sure yet how we're going to handle that, but we will be doing some sort of wrap-up. But leading up to that, either Zoom discussion or live stream, we're filming videos along the way talking about sort of our thoughts and feelings on each part. Steve has already read this once, so this is a reread for him. This is a first-time read for me, however. And we did realize sort of after the fact, after we announced the video, getting a battery pop-up on my phone, sorry. We realized after the fact that the US copy of this book is not released until the 14th of February, so we started a little bit before it's available for most readers. So I do apologize for that. So I'm going to keep it very spoiler-free, completely spoiler-free, until it is released in the US, and then you all can read it. And then at the final discussion at the end of the month, Steve and I will discuss more spoiler-related material. But in this video, I'm going to try to keep spoilers completely out of it. Just talk about some of my initial feelings and thoughts of sort of my first time reading through this book. So part 2 was my favorite so far. Part 1 laid a lot of historical groundwork, and of course, Dan Jones is primarily known as a British historian. That is his forte, that's his wheelhouse. That's what he's comfortable doing and what he has done for a long time and done it very well. And so we get a very good lay of the land, essentially, in part 1. And I'll link to my video talking about part 1 in the description down below if you want to go over and watch that. But we meet the band of, essentially this group of vagrants, essentially, called the Essex Dogs, who have been hired, basically mercenary soldiers, to help in an invasion of France, as under King Edward III, part of his plan to try to take France, invade France. And so leading into part 2, we have our characters already landed in France, and they are beginning these attacks and basically ravaging these small French villages along the coast. And we get to enter a little bit of the psychological element of some of these characters, starting to deal with sort of the fact that they are being paid to invade a foreign land, invade a foreign shore, and completely decimate it and pillage it, and sort of how they individually deal with that fact, with knowing that fact. One of the main characters, because really there is no central main character, not really. However, one of the characters that we get the most who gets the most page time is a guy named Loveday, who goes by Loveday. And he is a bit of an older man, kind of in his mid 40s, it seems like. And he has been a part of similar expeditions, similar sort of mercenary work for a while, and is really coming to hate himself for it. And he is really coming to realize sort of what they really are doing, the fact that they are sort of invading a country that really hasn't done anything hostile to them, and for the sole purpose of appeasing King Edward III in his mission that he's trying to succeed in. And so we get a lot of really interesting sort of psychological glimpses into the effects of this sort of mercenary warriorship kind of on the individuals who are taking part in it. And then we have just a lot of very interesting interactions sort of between these men, talking in between, rampages in these towns talking about, their feelings towards what they're doing, their interactions with, the very few interactions with the French natives, and sort of the treatment between French and English, sort of going on here in part 2. So far, the pacing and the tone that I'm at least picking up on in the book it's very much quick moving, but also at the same time very much with a central set piece. So the actual action, to me, seems to be taking place a lot in the sort of mental dialogues and mental progressions of characters, and less in the actual progression of the story, which I find interesting. There certainly is action, and the book opens with a very strong action scene, which is wonderful, and there are very action-packed moments in each part, or at least in these first 2 parts so far. But it seems to me that the focus, at least in part 2, seems to be shifted a lot more onto the characters themselves, and sort of the ways in which they are coping, and the ways in which they are dealing with the line of employment they have chosen, I can't speak today, they have chosen, so to speak, which I find to be a really interesting angle. So I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm very much looking forward to part 3. I'm also looking forward to Steve's video talking about part 2, just because he has so much to bring to the table in discussions like this. He's read, immense amounts of books on this subject, on this time period, on King Edward III. So he brings so much insight. So I'm looking forward to watching his video. Steve, if you're watching this, I'm looking forward to watching your video, and I'm very much looking forward to part 3. I think I will start today, just to get sort of a head start on next week's reading. I'm very much intrigued to see where this book is going. The writing style has been incredibly engaging, very, very easy to read, but still you feel like you're taking away something from it. It's easy reading, but it's not light reading, if that makes sense. It definitely feels like there is weight and merit to the writing, which is absolutely fantastic. And this is sort of a side note, but I really do love this cover design as well. I think it's really sleek, really sharp, and it's it's the little things like that I do appreciate. So that's it for today. Just a really quick sort of overview check-in for the Essex Dog read-along that I'm doing with Steve Donahue. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you would like, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now, and happy reading.